plus related, then please fuck off now. If you're still here, strap on in, pun intended, and enjoy the ride. Oh, hello, Sam.
Well, good evening, Ellie.
How the devil are you?
I mean, it's been a long time since we've done this. I'd almost forgotten about it.
I know. Yeah, we've been a little bit busy. Had our hands full. Some of us had our vaginas full.
Oh my god.
And so we're back. So we had a baby 18 months ago now.
I know. You didn't have one. You didn't have it come out of you.
No, I did the outsourcing. It's all about outsourcing. I'm not dealing with that kind of level of pain and stress and uncomfortableness for...
I've almost erased it from my memory, but I'm sure you're about to ask me a bunch of questions about it, aren't you?
Oh God, I don't know. I haven't thought of any questions to ask you about it.
Well, I mean, you were there the whole time.
I know.
Apart from when, apparently, after 9 o'clock, COVID appeared, so you had to leave the ward.
Yeah, that was interesting times. I was allowed there all day, doing the whole mopping of the brow and the...
Mopping of the brow? Pipe down.
But you did actually cash in on that because I did bring you McDonald's breakfast every morning, didn't I?
Yeah,
Other breakfast items are available.
I think
obviously.
after the length of labour and how ill I was, a McDonald's breakfast is the least you could do.
Okay. Yeah. There is that. So, how did you find the birth? Well, when I say the birth, there's about, I don't know, how many days of our lives we just spent waiting?
Well, we went in Sunday morning, and then he wasn't born until Tuesday afternoon. That's how long it was. It was a long time.
It was a long time. Lots of Switch games were played, Mario Kart.
Yeah, until the induction started, and then I was like, get me the epidural, bitches! Get it in me, because that shit fucking hurt.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit as well.
Yeah, I destroyed a whole hospital room, didn't I?
Yeah, we did have to get moved. That was interesting times. Like,
no, the best bit for me was after my waters were broken, and then the midwife went off to get the consultant so I could have the epidural, and I was on the gas and air, and the consultant came in, and my legs were like akimbo. You were like trying to make sure I was okay because I was in loads of pain, and this woman just walked in, and I'm like, hello, that's my vag, woo! High as a kite. She was like,
your tits.
She kind of like looked around the room, didn't she? And she was like, somebody order an epidural, and I was like, that would be me. That would be me.
You were honestly off your head. It was hilarious. Yeah, it was very interesting and entertaining. You were like pissed, but on the next level of pissed. It was just incredible. Yeah, it was all a bit mad, wasn't it? So you had the epidural, then, like, as they say in the business, laboured for a bit.
For a bit. You make it sound like I was doing it for 10 minutes. I was doing it for about 12 hours.
It was a breeze, I can tell you.
You do it next time then,
No, I'm busy that day.
You're busy for those 9 months, are you?
I'm busy for the rest of my life. I'm sorry.
Oh, look, like, the care that we got from the NHS, bearing in mind, like, COVID, it was, like, second to none, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was amazing that they managed to kind of be there for us, and although there was constraints and there was rules and we had to all wear masks and all that jazz, it was amazing that, well, we got through. They were there. And theatre, so we ended up with a C-section.
Theatre was badass. They
Yeah.
literally, like, wheeled me in. I was on the gas and air because they were about to, like, I don't know,
Cut shit up.
do some shit. And they literally wheeled me in, and they're like, everybody was introducing themselves, and I was like, oh my god, you're all women. And it was so cool. Like, literally every member of staff in the theatre was a woman. And then this, like, massive bruiser of a boy was, like, lifted out of my belly. And what did they all do when he came out?
Go, oh,
Yeah.
it's massive.
£10 £10, people. £10.
He is a big boy.
He still is a big boy.
Yeah, he is a big boy. He is, yeah. He was massive. He was just like this little lad coming out, or big lad coming out, like, ladies, and we're all there for this one boy coming out to the world on his birthday. So yeah, it was amazing. It was like, yeah, the most incredible experience I think I've ever had.
I mean, the next day for me was not... I don't really remember much of it because I was quite ill. So I had an infection. I lost a lot of blood during the C-section, and I was just, I don't know, I was out of it. I thought I was throwing up slugs at one point. Like, that's how out of it I was. And then I had to have 2 blood transfusions and loads of antibiotics. But just to look at him in that little cot and just know that he was like just this perfect little scrunchy person that we were going to get to know, and like we were
responsible for.
Yeah, and had the privilege of like looking after him. It's just, I don't know, he just brings such joy.
Yeah, he does. And not just to us as well. I think he meets a lot of people and just has an absolute beaming smile. And, you know, we've turned into those mums that are just obsessed and talk about our kid all the time.
But you know, I don't, like, obviously in this podcast we're talking about him, but I don't think we talk about him continuously. Like, we still know ourselves and still find time for ourselves and to do the things that we love to do. But he's just...
He complements our life, I think.
I don't know. He's just fundamentally changed me as a person. Like, he's changed my outlook on life. Like, I think he's like made me a much happier, calmer, like more balanced person. And like, he's 18 months. You're just like, I don't know. You just got to be consistent, haven't you?
Well, who knows? We've got a way long road ahead of us, and I'm sure that he'll
how has he
test
changed
us.
you? Like, I've just talked about how he's changed me. Like, how has he changed you as a person?
I think he's just everything, and I feel like I thought that I was fulfilled before he was here, and now I know what being fulfilled as a person really is. And I think that he just, I don't know, he brings about the kind of lioness within me, like you want to protect your baby, and just proud, and just, I suppose, feelings and emotions that I didn't really have a sense of before. And I probably thought I did, and I thought I knew how happy and content and everything I was before him, but now it's like next level, like something, yeah, it changes your perspective on life. So we've obviously, not necessarily to some of you, because you won't even have a bloody clue who we are, but we've also moved house since having him, and I think that changed my outlook and kind of, I suppose, some of the aspects that I'd been through in my life to kind of let Sam in more in terms of us actually investing and getting a house together.
Which was so weird. Like, you were fully on board with having a child, which is a lifelong commitment, but I don't know. I found it really interesting, and obviously that's to do with your kind of past experiences and stuff. But I think it took for him to come for you to kind of be like, oh, okay, she's not going anywhere. Like, she's here now. Like, oh, okay, we'll buy a house now. Like, that's how I kind of saw it.
It was very like that. It was kind of, I suppose, seeing him and seeing the love that we both have for him and the love that we have for each other, it kind of reaffirmed what.
You're so soppy. You never talk like this, and you're doing it on a podcast.
I can't say it to your actual face. I can say it through a microphone.
Whilst looking at my face.
I don't know. Whatevs. Innit? No, yeah, I think it does. I think having that... I don't know. I just want to better his life. And if that means that we sacrifice certain aspects of our lifestyle or...
sleep.
Yeah, a lot of sleep. Yeah, there is that. But I think sacrificing, you know, some of the crazy thing, like holidays and stuff that we've done over the years.
Hang on a second. 2 weeks ago we went to Gran Canaria. How many nights did you go out, sweetheart?
3. There's only 3.
Oh, and
Normally 7.
How many shots did you have?
Several.
Oh, how many shots did I have? 2.
Oh, you did well, Sarah.
Oh, God, don't start that, sweetheart. Oh, yeah, we went on holiday after somebody gave me COVID.
Yeah.
She
won't
am
let
a
me live it
teacher.
down.
I work in London. I have been wearing a mask since September and avoiding COVID. Ellie goes to one party, one super spreader party, and what happens?
Yeah. It was
get COVID.
It was a super spreader event of the south, I think. Yeah, it was pretty impressive considering we managed to go to steps where there was how many thousands of people, however many they were allowed. Well, it was literally rammed, so whatever the capacity is of the O2, which was, for me, incredible, for you, overwhelming, because it's the first time you've been around that. Well, it was the first time for me for 2 years, but I just love people, so I was in my element.
I was just terrified of getting COVID, and to be honest, like, it was I had it pretty bad. Bearing in mind I've had 3 jabs.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't hospitalised, but I still even now don't feel 100% right. And I was terrified of getting it.
Yeah.
But I think the media like made you feel like that, like the constant numbers and the constant people dying and how many people are vaccinated, and I don't know. It just gets into your head.
But I do feel lucky and fortunate and privileged to be able to have had 3 vaccines to protect, because I would hate to have it doesn't bear thinking about what it's like without the vaccines.
Oh my God!
Jesus, with 3 it was bad enough.
Yeah, well, you can see why people are hospitalised. You can see, and you know, all of those kind of sacrifices that everybody made in the first 2 lockdowns. You know, before we were all vaccinated, like you can see why the government did that now, having had it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very lucky that we had it when we did and after the jabs, and luckily, just 2 days before we were due to go on holiday, we were out of quarantine and allowed out in the real world, so we could get our sun lotion and bits and pieces, get our hairs cut.
And luckily, our son didn't get it either,
yeah,
which was
that was
really
a miracle. Don't know quite how.
And you know, I have to say, bearing in mind he's a lockdown baby, like he's so well adjusted, and he loves people. He loves people just as much as you. Yeah,
he does, and I'm really, really glad that he does, because he just likes to wave at people and smile at people and interact with people, and
it's all about him.
Yeah,
it's all about me. Hello.
Yeah, I think we have grown a diva, and that could be.
No, I grew a diva, so no.
Well, you grew the diva. I provided the genetics of the diva, and it's, I don't know, nature nurture, isn't it? What
so when we put my genetics in you, what's going to go?
It ain't going to me, sweetheart. You grow your own. This petri dish is off limits. No, sorry. But yeah, I just think 18 months has gone by so quick. How...
You might want to tell your face that.
Yeah, true. And my hair. It's all gone a bit downhill, hasn't it, really?
A bit like your tits.
No, that's not true.
No, you've got really great tits.
Thanks. Awkward.
Well, you know, the listeners need to know.
I don't think they do.
I do.
They won't want to. Quick, switch off. Yeah, so what else has happened in the past 18 months? The last time, I think, was June 2020 that we last did a...
Shut up. Is that when we last did a podcast?
Yeah.
Well, what happened? We had a baby. There was another lockdown. Then there was Christmas. But it wasn't really Christmas. Then there was another lockdown. And then it was just kind of like, fuck it, we've got to get back to normal. And then I had to go back to work.
Boost.
which was a shock to the system. But actually, if we're talking about being like a mum and working and doing all of those things, like, it's actually quite nice to be an adult and know kind of like your professional side of you is still a thing. Like,
You ain't professionals for that.
I am a consummate professional, thank you. Thank you very much. Did you see how hard I had to concentrate on saying that word?
I didn't even know what you're saying.
I'm so dyslexic, I'm like, say the word properly.
We have had half a bottle of wine each, and I've now hit the gin.
Yeah, whereas I've gone on to the tea.
She's gone on to the hard stuff.
Yeah, can't drink like I used to.
No, I can. I drink for you.
What have you done? Loads of DIY. And
Yeah.
DIY on the house.
Yeah, I have done loads of DIY actually.
I don't know, we're just ticking along, right? Like, we got this new house, which is really, really lovely. I mean, like, families are growing, so our family's grown. Your sister's had another baby, so like, and our brother-in-law. You know, like, everybody's just kind of popping babies out, aren't they?
Yeah, there's nothing else to do in lockdown, so just.
But now, you know, COVID doesn't exist, right?
Apparently not. Apparently it's gone. Although the rest of the world is still being cautious, and understandably so.
I do worry about the world that our son is rapidly growing up in, though.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
It is. And I think, like, the most important thing for him is that we are consistent. You know, toast for breakfast, toast for lunch, and toast for dinner. No, joking. Like, he just loves toast. I don't know, Ellie. Like, what else do you want to talk about?
Shredder? I don't know. Where do you hope the Harvey is in 5 years' time? What kind of personality do you think you have?
Well, I hope he's 6.5 in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
What kind of personality?
Yeah.
I hope he is polite. I think manners are really, really important. I hope he's happy within himself. If he chooses to, you know, if he identifies as a boy. I hope he's kind. I hope he never feels like he can't achieve something. You know, I feel like when we grew up, there were a lot of people that were like, you know, stick to your lane, like, get a job, leave home, or go to university, leave home, like, don't dream big. And I think, you know, one of the great things about social media is that we have access to so many different people now, and you can see that there are so many possibilities in the world, and I just hope that he follows his passions. Like, that's honestly what I want for him.
He'll be working at Warburton's doing bread so he can have toast forever.
What do you want for him?
Just for him to be happy, whatever form that takes, really. I just think kids are, like, amazing and resilient, and obviously, sadly, some kids have to grow up in really turbulent kind of environments, but they're really resilient. And for him to thrive, and whatever that looks like for him, you know, looking at kids and how they're like walking, and they're like, oh my god, I'm walking, this is amazing, like I can grab that off that shelf, or I can push that over there, and I can do, and the joy that they have just by doing everyday things where we're like, oh, I've got to walk, I've got to go to the car, I've got dinner, I've got to brush my teeth. Whereas he's like, oh my god, I'm brushing my teeth. Like, he just loves it.
I just want him to have that sense of innocence about him for as long as possible.
Yeah, in this world it's very difficult to keep that innocence going, really, because you can see social media and all the kind of kids TikTok videos and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, they just grow up way too quickly. Hopefully for him not to be playing like Call of Duty or Squid Games by the time he's 7. That would be kind of an achievement, I think.
But I think it's about education, right? And I think unless someone explicitly says to parents, like, your child should not be watching Squid Games because of X, Y, and Z, why wouldn't you let them watch it? You know, like, if kids have got a TV in their room and they've got Netflix in their room and you haven't set up parental controls, or you're not, you know, if you're a very busy person that works loads and loads of hours, how are you meant to know? I think, yes, the responsibility does lie at the parent, but also I think these tech companies or these kind of media providers have a level of responsibility. And I do you know, like, I don't think Netflix take enough responsibility for that. Like, they don't make it particularly hard to access that, do they?
No, I agree.
Like, you pull up Netflix, most watched today Squid Games, and then there's like this tiny little thing that's like 18 or whatever it is, 15, tiny little thing, and it immediately starts playing a video, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It starts playing the preview, and if you're a kid and you've heard everybody else at school has watched this thing, and the kids are like mimicking the games and playing them in the playground, and you're the only kid that hasn't watched it, like, it's that peer pressure that starts like so young, doesn't it? And I mean,
well, even getting into Netflix, and Harvey's not old enough yet, so I haven't even looked into it, but you just say who you are, don't you? So you just click on the person and then you're in and you're watching whatever it is you want to watch. So it's not like there's even a pin for you to get into watch. You just go kids or your profile. Like, guaranteed, hands down, when my parents were working, latchkey kid here, I would have just gone home and watched whatever I wanted on Netflix. My parents are tight, so they wouldn't have had Netflix, but...
No, correction. Your mum's not tight.
My dad is. So they wouldn't have had Netflix. But yeah, they, like, there's no way I wouldn't have not watched everything. I would have been like, oh my God, get home. And then when they pull up on the drive, I would have then put, I don't know, Simpsons on or whatever.
But as a parent now, would you know how to set up parental controls on Netflix?
No, I don't think I would. I'd need to look into it nearer the time when he's actually actively old enough to understand. He definitely has a controller and he can definitely turn the volume up and down and turn the thing off currently, which is kind of scary. But I don't think it's intentional at the moment. But, you know, it won't be long when he's 3, 4, 5 that he'll be actively going to put his favourite show on.
Right. But if you're a hard-working single parent and you're not at home at the same time as your children, how are you going to know what they're doing?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
And if you're not explicitly told how to set up parental controls, you know, 1, would that cross your mind that you need to do that? 2, would you even know that you can do that? 3, do you know what that prevents the child from accessing? I don't know, like, I think there's some level of responsibility on schools, and my school does, you know, if we hear that children are accessing things that are beyond their years, like, we do say to the parents, like, you know, we would advise that the child shouldn't be watching this. But I think there should be some level of responsibility on these media companies to be more proactive in safeguarding against children.
Yeah. It is scary, the things that they watch. But equally, when I was a kid, back in the old VHS days, when you go to Blockbusters or your local spa shop or whatever and you could rent VHS, I used to, at like 12 or whatever, have 15s, 18s rented.
Yeah, that's because you're a 6 foot tall butch lesbian.
No,
nobody's going to be like, whoa, don't give her that.
I wasn't a 6 foot tall lesbian back when I was
you were a lesbian.
12. Yeah, but not out.
How tall were you then? 5'11"?
I've no idea. 5'10", something maybe. I don't know. But I didn't get a certain, like, my parents or the parents of the kids that we'd have sleepovers at, we'd rent them out. My friend her parents owned a shop that used to do rental videos, so we just used to watch all of them. So I think it stems back to Like,
okay, but as a child, did you ever watch something that maybe in hindsight you shouldn't have watched and it had consequences?
adverse effects, potentially. Like, I remember Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of the Freddy Krueger movies were scary to watch. But I think more so, that was obviously, I knew as a child that wasn't real and there's prosthetics and yada yada. I think the things that scared me more were things that could have happened, as in like the Scream movies with the mask, and you think, well, actually people actively go around stabbing people. Sam's not laughing at me, but that genuinely, as a kid, that was genuinely.
I'm just thinking about someone that we used to say looked like the Scream mask. But it wasn't the Scream mask, it was the artist with the screaming person. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember.
Sorry.
That's
an aside.
Tedious.
So you were scared of things that could happen, like murders and those kind of things?
Yeah, things that actually do happen and are reported in the media. Because obviously you'd watch the news at 6 o'clock or whatever when your parents were on, so you'd see certain things that would happen, and then you kind of, I suppose as a kid, make a link to a VHS that you'd watched and gone,
Whereas my dad let me watch The X-Files when I was younger.
Oh yeah, I used to watch that.
Crush on Gillian Anderson from a very young age.
That's not changed.
But there was an episode about a guy called Tunes who could I can't remember, Tunes or Tubes or something like that, and he could make his body go through keyholes.
Oh yeah, I
and it was
remember that one.
Absolutely terrifying, and I still have that nightmare now.
Wow, you never told me that.
Yeah, I still have that nightmare. I must have been.
Was the programme through a keyhole like really terrifying?
Yeah, it was really triggering for me. But I still have that nightmare now about someone coming through a keyhole and getting me. And that stems from my dad, innocently probably, thinking, oh, maybe she's old enough. I think I was like 10 or 11 or something. Letting me watch it and then it having, even now at 34. Well, not catastrophic, but still now at 34 I have that reoccurring nightmare.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, see, I don't have that. And I think looking at the kind of things that are in movies and I suppose series now, things like Squid Game, it's much more graphic. It seems much more realistic. Obviously the prosthetics and things have come on a long way, the CGI's come a long way, so it makes it so real when you're seeing a lot of the stuff that's available now.
But for me, it's not even about the prosthetics or the kind of CGI or any of those things. It's about I don't know how to word this, but I'm just going to go with the crude way of saying it, but like the most fucked up things that people think of. Like, spoiler alert for Squid Games if you haven't seen it. Who the fuck decides, okay, we're going to put a bridge with glass, see-through glass, and you either stand on it and you stay there, or not, you fall through it and land and fucking die. Like, to me, that is the worst of humanity. Like, having that thought of creating a game to kill people in that way, or the one with the doll where they shoot people when they're playing, like, Grandmother's Footsteps. It's so sinister and so dark, and like, what kind of like fucked up person are you to come up with those kind of things?
Yeah, if they weren't in filmmaking, they'd be a fucking brutal serial killer, wouldn't they?
Yeah, at least like with Saw.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's brutal and fucked up as well. But I think in the initial films of Saw, it was about teaching people a lesson, and if they followed the lesson, then they could survive. And they were supposed to take a lesson away from that. Are
you saying it's like the Bible?
Spoiler alert, that doesn't end well either. But like in Squid Games, to me it's all about luck. It's literally luck. It's not about like you can redeem yourself or you can pay back your debt or you can... It's either you die or you're the one person out of however many there was starting that is lucky enough to survive, and then you just carry all this fucking trauma around with you. Like, that's not fucked up human redemption, which is like Saw. That's just fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
No wonder our kids are suffering from like higher levels of anxiety and depression and feel like they've got, you know, lacking in prospects in the world when that's what they're consuming at such a young age.
Yeah, and suicide rates are obviously very high as well, aren't they? Certainly in men and boys. Yeah. It's really sad.
Yeah. And I think, like, yes, ultimately that responsibility lies with parents, but when you're in a situation when your child is the only one that's not watched something, or the only one that doesn't have Fortnite or Call of Duty or whatever it is, like, and you're trying to justify that to your child, like, that's really hard. And I really do feel like these companies need to put people's well-being above profit, but like that's never going to happen, is it?
No, because they
it's a
make
bit like gambling. Like it's just never gonna happen, is it?
No, it's not. It's weird because we're the first generation that's kind of had a lot of everything. Because at school, social media wasn't really a thing. We had MSN, we had mobile phones that would cost 50p a message. I mean, as a kid, you ain't going to be able to be sending many messages on a phone.
Oh my god, I'd rinse all my credit on the first of the month. I'd literally get like £10, £15 top up and I'd rinse it on the first day. And then I'd be like doing, I don't know, I'd like save like 50p and drop call my mum and dad every single time for them to call me back. And they'd be like, Argh!
But yeah, so we had no social media. We managed, fuck knows how, got through school. The bullying like stopped at the school. There was no like outside of school bullying really. Like, I suppose we're in inverted commas lucky. And then social media hit, so we obviously are consumers and involved with social media. We consume it on a daily, we understand it. But the kids now are literally surrounded by social media, you know, even when they're in school. Obviously your school's very different because you do have a zero tolerance policy, but you see
no,
on...
I'm under no illusions. Like, the kids do have their phones in their blazers. That's the only safe place to keep them. They go to the toilet and use their phones. They do.
Yeah, we all do. We all go for a little sneaky wee, scroll through Facebook.
Yeah. Well, and their parents message them.
Oh, right.
Like the kids will already know they're in detention that day, because their parents would have had a text message to notify them that they're in detention. Their parent will then text them to be like, why are you in detention today? And then you'll go to speak to a kid and be like, you're in detention today, and they'll be like, yeah, I already know. And you're like, how? And then you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Like, we were, in inverted commas, protected from all of that because it didn't exist.
Yeah, but weirdly, like, I know a lot of friends who were groomed back in the day via MSN because our parents were absolutely freaking clueless about what the internet was, the fact that there's predators out there, the fact that people could actually get involved, you know, get...
But so were we.
Yeah, as kids, yeah, totally.
Yeah, we were totally clueless as well.
Not a clue that all that was going on. But you just think, Jesus, like, if we managed to survive and not get groomed, it's a fucking miracle because it was rife. And with no parental controls, no internet providers even knew what that was. They didn't even exist, I don't think.
But if you think about the early versions of the internet, like on MSN Messenger, yeah, you could send like, I don't know, silly little emojis that you made out of like punctuation and stuff, but you couldn't send like you couldn't send picture files to each other. Or
massive what?
like massive documents. Like, you couldn't send a video. Think about WhatsApp now. Like, you can send like minutes and minutes and minutes of videos within seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, like when you used to use like Napstar and whatever else,
LimeWire
and stuff, like, and you download a whole album, you'd be like,
it'd take
Mom,
about 3
Dad,
weeks.
I'm gonna leave the computer on overnight, and they'd be like, no, and you'd be like, no, don't turn it off because I'm halfway and then it would all be lost, and you'd be like, oh
No.
But you know, like, yes, there was grooming, but it was very much like if you turned your computer off,
that was the end
stopped,
of it. Yeah.
You know, whereas now, the groomers are literally in their hands, aren't they? They're on TikTok, and they're on Snapchat, and they're on Insta, and they're on Twitter, and well, the kids don't really use Facebook because it's for old
people like
but,
us.
you know, they're on Facebook. They're on all of these, and there's a new platform now where you can make, like, I don't know, the kids were trying to talk to me about it today. Where you can make, like, sound bites into, like, emojis or something. I don't know, craziness. Like, I don't know, it changes at the blink of an eye, and you're trying to keep up with it as a parent, and it's just like...
And it's all the kind of, and Jesus, by the time Harvey's got a mobile, God knows what's going to be out and what we're going to have to be in control of. But it's really important to understand what the parental controls are and what apps are dangerous and what they are.
Yeah, otherwise we'll be going on iTunes or whatever it is and like buying loads of add-ons to loads of games and like racking up thousands of pounds.
Or listening to our podcast. I mean, that would be mortifying. I don't know whether it's more for him or for us. I don't know. He'd be like, God, it's so embarrassing.
Oh man, that's the whole reason you have kids, right? To embarrass them.
Well, I'm in. That's all I've done it for. That, and he can pay for our home when we're old. It's funny. Well,
it was nice to be back.
Yeah, and I feel like I need another gin, so I might have to go and get that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
On. It is a Friday night after all.
I know, yeah.
Well, we're going to try and do this most Friday nights now.
Oh, are we? This is new news.
Well, I think we should. I think we should. I think we've got a lot of issues in the world to tackle.
Oh, Jesus. This is Sam's therapy.
No, thank you. No, thank you, please.
No, thank you, please.
Now, what time is it? Oh, God, it's 9:30. We should go to bed.
Oh,
We've
shut
got a
up.
1-year-old. So you going to get up with him when he wakes up?
If it's after 10, yeah. Right, it's been a mosh. Yeah, catch you on the flip side, whenever that may be.
And
apparently
on that
Friday
bombshell.
night. Yeah. Latest, my lovers. Thanks for listening to Spill the LGBT. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, please rate, review, share and subscribe, as that helps other listeners find this podcast. For you fabulous, positive, constructive people, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Instagram. There you can help give us topics, link us to exciting people to speak with or interview, or give us things to discuss in future episodes. This is a podcast for our community, so want it to be engaging. Thanks very much. Latest, my lovers.